I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha, and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm really grateful that you guys are listening, subscribing, commenting. I really appreciate the support. And of course, if you guys want to support me further, you can go to my Patreon site. The link is in the description below, and you can give me $1 a month, $5 a month, whatever you prefer. Okay? In this video, I wanted to speak to you guys about having a reward system for yourself. Particularly as an INFJ, and I've done videos on this in the past, we obviously have a hard time bragging about our accomplishments, but also we have a hard time telling ourselves congratulations or congratulating ourselves for doing something good, right? We just don't give ourselves enough credit, and we don't celebrate our good moments. We will berate ourselves and negate our efforts, and we'll tell ourselves negative things all day long. They'll be like, oh, you're a terrible person, you didn't do enough, even though we tried so hard. Or we'll talk down to ourselves all day long. But when we do something right, we will never acknowledge it as an INFJ. As an individual in general, I think, and specifically as a female, I find that I do this a lot, and a lot of women do this. We'll do amazing, amazing things. We'll build Rome in a day, but then we'll be like, oh, well, but the stairs were not perfect, or the infrastructure is not that great, and things like that. We'll complain or bitch about small little things about ourselves, and we won't give ourselves enough credit. We don't congratulate ourselves, and we don't celebrate our accomplishments. And I know this is true for me specifically, and I know it's true for a lot of you guys as well. You guys message me all the time, especially after that bragging video. A lot of you message me things that you've done that are amazing, and I think to myself, wow, I'm surrounded by a bunch of awesome, really hardworking people. But none of you guys really, and I asked you, and I was like, did you guys give yourself credit? And you're like, no. I mean, you never congratulated yourself enough for the accomplishments that you've had. But you will pick and nitpick at something bad within it, and you'll just berate yourself for days on end for that, right? I'll give you a quick example. A friend of mine, an INFJ friend, shared about another INFJ friend of hers. And so she has an art exhibition, right? And so she did one art exhibition, her friend did, my friend's friend, and it didn't do that well. It was kind of a failure. And so now she has 5 more. Now, I don't understand how it was a failure when she has 5 more exhibitions. Obviously, it wasn't a complete failure, and she's just being an INFJ. But so she has 5 more art exhibitions, but because the first one was a failure, in her head, I'm sure it wasn't a failure, but in her head it was a failure. Now she's doing 5 more, but she's not talking about it. She's not telling anyone, she's not telling her friends, etc. Now, there's so many things wrong with this story, so many things wrong with this, of course. But the first thing, obviously, is that you got an art exhibition. There are hundreds, thousands, millions of artists in the world, but you got an art exhibition. You got one. Out of all the different people out there, you were the one who was chosen. Obviously, you're doing something right. Obviously, your art is good. So brag about it, talk about it, not only for other people, but for yourself, to tell yourself you did well. Just the fact that you got that exhibition is a cause for celebration. Even if no one shows up, you did it. That is, again, the point that I want to make. Even if no one looks at it, you did it, right? You have an art exhibition. On top of that, she got 5 more, and she's not talking about it because the first one was a failure. What is a failure really? What is truly a failure? If no one shows up, I think for me, and I've told you guys this before, even if I do a video and no one watches it, for me, it's still a success because I did it. I prepared this video, I made it, I talked about something that was hard or interesting or easy, whatever, and I put myself out there. As an INFJ, as a socially anxious, crazy INFJ who was completely afraid of doing this in the past, I did it, and every single time I put out a video and I get negative comments and I'm fine with it. That in itself for me, again, is a cause for celebration. I did it. I put myself out there, even though I was extremely afraid of rejection and failure and etc. I still put myself out there. That is success, right? And so I try as much as possible to celebrate these little moments. I try. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect at it. I am absolutely not perfect at it. And so I've been kind of thinking maybe I should have a system to reward myself. Now, I haven't really thought completely about it, and I have a couple of things in my system. I'm not going to talk about my reward system particularly because it's particular to me, and it is to do with what I like and how I reward myself. I reward myself with food, but not just food. I reward myself with meals with friends. So Chiang Mai is amazing because it has a lot of amazing restaurants. And I have a lot of good friends here who are interested in going out and having delicious meals. And they have the money and the time for it, which is great. So whenever I do something amazing, whenever I do something nice that I want to reward myself for, I will go out for a particularly delicious, expensive meal with my friends. A good meal. Doesn't necessarily just have to be expensive. It has to be delicious. It has to have a lot of good reviews and things like that. And so that's what I do. I usually reward myself with food. Now, if it's something major, I'll go for a more expensive dinner. If it's something minor, I'll just go for a dinner just like that. But in general, I'm trying to reward myself with food, with meals, right? Meals with friends. Because that's, I think, something that makes me really, really happy, to enjoy a delicious meal with friends, chatting, listening to them talk about random things like that. It makes me real happy, right? Another thing that I know that I reward myself with is once or twice a year, I will reward myself with a particularly nice, long-term luxury item, right? Now, I don't buy a lot of things. I don't buy clothes. I usually just get them secondhand from secondhand stores, or I'll get donations from friends, things like that, or from my sister. Hand-me-downs mostly. Most of my closet is hand-me-downs. I don't buy clothes. I buy shoes because you don't want to wear other person's shoes, because my feet are really important to me. I do a lot of yoga, and your feet are your life. And so I buy shoes, good shoes, but I only buy maybe one pair a year, maybe one pair every 2 years. So I have Birkenstocks right now, which are really good for your feet. And then I have a pair of Crocs, really nice Crocs though, not the typical ones. And so though I wear them every single day, so they have been used more than enough for what I paid for them. But in general, I don't buy anything. I have my really expensive laptop, but of course I've had this for 5 years now, 6 years. And so in general, I don't buy a lot of things, but once or twice a year, I'll buy something that I know I use a lot, that it would be nice if I had something good about it, and something that would last me a long time, right? So I use my backpack a lot. So last year I splurged and I spent $120 on a nice laptop backpack, which is rainproof, waterproof, and has a separate compartment for my laptop, so I can walk around and I can drive around on my motorbike, and I can have this. Even in the rain, my laptop is safe, right? So that's something I splurged on, and that's something I do. So that was a reward for myself, because I did really cool things last year, and I was like, all right, you're doing amazing things. This is a reward for yourself. So I don't necessarily have a system, although I have an unconscious system, obviously, as you can tell. I don't necessarily have a written down system, but I do recommend to you guys as well, as INFJs, as people in general who have a hard time celebrating your accomplishments, or bragging about things, or telling yourself you're awesome. I'm sure you don't do that. You will nitpick on all the things that you're doing wrong. Oh my God, you made that mistake. And oh my God, you said that in front of this person. How could you? And I'm sure you berate yourself all day long, saying negative things to yourself all day long. But do you ever say nice things when you do something nice? Maybe not. So try as much as possible to bring that into your system as well. Bring that into your ways of doing things. I'm sure you're the kind of person who, if someone else does something, you will be, oh my God, you're so awesome, great. And you'll be so congratulatory towards your friends or family if they do something even small. Like if my sister just jumps a little bit, I'm like, oh my God, you're awesome, because I love her, right? And my friends as well, I'm always like, oh my God, you're amazing, you're doing great, you're awesome, great, keep on going. But with myself, I don't do that enough. I'm not always congratulating myself, but not only that, I'm not pumping myself up and telling myself I'm awesome, telling myself I'm doing great, and I'm doing amazing things. And I know I am, because I see it, but I still don't say that to myself enough, right? And so that's something that I want us to bring more of into our life, not just as INFJs, but as human beings in general. Yes, we're not perfect. Of course we're not perfect. We do stupid things all the time, and I'm sure we make mistakes all the time. Not as much as other people, I'm sure, because INFJs are so freaking tight and scheduled and rigid about that stuff. But even if we make a mistake, we'll just talk about it and think about it for days and weeks and months on end. It's so foolish of us, right? But if we do something amazing, we'll be like, it wasn't that great, it was fine, blah, and that's it, right? So why? Why do we do this, right? One of my things is, once I reach 10,000 subscribers, which I'm like pretty close to, I have told myself that I'm going to do something amazing for myself. And again, another one way that I reward myself is through travel. I haven't been traveling that much this year because I want to do a lot more work, but I've told myself that I'll go to Taiwan once I have 10K subscribers. So I want to go to Taiwan. I've heard the food there is really good. And a bunch of Chinese dramas that I've watched are based in Taiwan, so I'd love to watch that. I would love to go there, just because. One of the dramas that I really like is called Office Girls. And it's a Taiwanese drama. My mom introduced me to it. That's the first drama I ever watched. And it's so good. It's so much fun. And so I would love to go to Taiwan. And so that's one of the things I've told myself. Once I reach 10K, I'm going to go to Taiwan. It's a random thing, but it's one of the ways I reward myself. And just to celebrate these moments. I mean, for me, it's a big accomplishment. It might not be for other people because, I mean, there are hundreds of channels with more than 10K and 100K, 200K. But for me, it was a major one. And so I put myself I put this reward for myself. Okay. I hope this makes sense. I hope I was able to explain myself to you. It's such an important thing to celebrate our accomplishments, to say nice things to ourselves, not only be mean to ourselves. Again, if you guys have any questions about this, please comment below. I will do a further video if your comments require it. And if you're interested in supporting me further, you can do that by going to my Patreon site. The link is in the description below. And I shall see you guys the next time around. Bye for now.